Pallavi Sharda. I am an actress. I grew up in Melbourne, Australia, but have been living in Mumbai, where my career in Indian cinema has been keeping me very busy. But I think more importantly, I'm a Bharatanatyam dancer and a freestyle movement artist. Movement for me has always been a source of meditation, a way for me to relax, for me to let go of all the stress in the world that keeps my brain anxious and paranoid. I think when I'm dancing, it's the one time that I really feel free. This, I guess, is the source of my journey on the AH1. I'm going on this journey with somebody called Naved. It will be interesting because I hear that he is a theatre actor. Yeah, I'm very excited to meet him. Nexa journey is going to give me the opportunity to cross 2 country borders, travel through 3 countries. It's such a rare thing to be able to just drive through Asia like that. And I'm just feeling really excited that I was given this opportunity.
I came on this journey because I wanted to learn about movement across different cultures. Dance and movement have been such important parts of my life ever since I was very young. They started out as hobbies and passions, but slowly became a way of life and even a form of spiritual guidance, and that's something that I really wanted to get back in touch with. I was born in Australia, but obviously in an Indian household where Bollywood reigned supreme, and we watched Bollywood films and I fell in love with the cinema. And from there I decided that these were the beats that attracted me, and I became enrolled in Bharatanatyam classes when I was 3. And that was really the first time I encountered movement or dance as a discipline. Even though my relationship with movement started from such a young age and continued as I was growing up in Australia, I thought it was ironic that when I moved to Mumbai to pursue a career in the industry which inspired me to move, I kind of stopped moving because Bombay doesn't allow you that space and that freedom of movement that I was craving. So I guess that's why it's so important for me to go on this journey to rediscover that part of myself. Luckily for me, it was very soon into the journey that I was able to experience movement again in a really beautiful way in Marjali in Assam. It was one of the first places we visited and an absolutely breathtaking experience. Marjali is the world's largest river delta island. It's located in Assam, and it's home to this very interesting culture called Vaishnavism. Vaishnavism is practiced in different hotras across the island, and one spiritual place of worship that I visited was called Namkor. Namkors are spiritual places of worship, and the way that the prayer occurs is really interesting and fascinating because the devotees don't pray to an idol, but they pray to the universe. And their form of prayer is through dance and music. Kshatriya Nritya is a form of dance performance art which can be traced back to as far as the 15th century. And it's practiced by male monks in the Namkor. And what I found most fascinating when I spoke one-on-one with the monk is that not only is it a form of exercise and a form of discipline, but it is really at its core a form of worship.
हमारा जो सत्रिया डांस होता है वो हम लोगों को फिट भी रखता है, मेडिटेशन होता है। डांस सिर्फ स्पिरिचुअल थिंग्स नहीं है, डांस सिर्फ भगवान को सेवा करने के लिए, भगवान को हम लोग प्यार करने के लिए ऐसा नहीं होता है। डांस हम लोग को बॉडी भी फिट रखते हैं, उसके साथ साथ हम लोग भगवान को उपासना भी करते हैं। ये बहुत विशाल ये संस्कृति भंडार है, उसको सीख जाएंगे तो धीरे धीरे हम लोग दिमाग में भी अच्छा लगता है और स्पिरिचुअल थिंग्स भी आता है और खुद को तैयार रखता है और खुद को ठीक रखता है।
Over the years, my own style has evolved into being a freestyle fusion dancer, and it was very, very gratifying when the monks actually spoke to me and offered to teach me some of their moves, which I was able to then incorporate into my own dance style. While practicing the Kshatriya Nritya and watching the monks dance, what I realized is that from a very young age, these men had been trained in a very, very disciplined art form. And it reminded me of my own Bharatanatyam training since the age of 3. It was steeped in symmetry, in form. So I was so fascinated to see how classical Indian dance forms across the board have these similarities and a very similar core. And I love the way that there is a mysticism to the dance form because it is all about worship, it is all about prayer and spirituality.
Hi everyone. I've spent today in Namghar here with the Satriya dancers, and I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, to be honest, because it's the first time that I've put my ghungru on in 6 years and the first time that I've put them on in India. I brought these ghungru with me from Australia thinking that I would get a chance to dance in India, and I didn't get that chance. And thank you, because today I was able to dance again with you. The new form that I learnt today was a namaskaram of the Satriya dance form. It's a very ancient dance form which is only performed actually in this space by men, which is why I'm unable to perform today with the dance that you'll see. But I've been given permission to greet you all with the traditional Satriya namaskaram, and I hope you enjoy it.
While we were watching the monks perform, I realized that for my friends and fellow journey makers, this was probably just a performance. But for me, in those moments, it had become a lot more than that. I all of a sudden understood what I was doing on this journey. It unfolded a path for me. I could learn about different movements, different cultures, different forms of spirituality through people like the monks of the Namghar. And all of a sudden, I was so excited by the possibilities of going to Nagaland, of going to Thailand, and bringing all of these into my repertoire. So it was this moment where I just felt extremely at peace and extremely grateful.
yes, there are some emotions which make more sense on the inside than on paper.
What are you writing about?
Marjorie.
Size calling.
Guys, थोड़ा stretch करना चाहिए. Let's have tea. क्या बोलते हो?
We can have tea, but it has to be healthy.
यार ये सारांश खाने नहीं देता, गिरीश जीने नहीं देता, और तुम exercise.
Not exercise, Sai. Movement. There's a difference.
What's the difference?
I grew up in Australia, the great outdoors, as they like to say, and it was all about just being outside, moving around all the time. We'd have family outings to campsites and waterfalls, and I feel like as adults we're losing it. Look at us. We're out in nature because we're doing this drive, which is amazing. But in our daily life, how often do we get out and actually play or move or breathe and oxygenate? I think that, while we're here, if we can actually run around and be like kids again, it'll just clear our mind. I think kids have got it right with their happiness. It's as soon as they start becoming adults that everything starts going downhill. So if we can be kids and move.
In Burma, we came across a monastery where Saranch was cooking for the monks. I had a very different experience. I actually entered and meditated with the young monks, the young kids. And as I sat there, I had this realization that I have always found spirituality in movement, but here there was movement in spirituality.
How important is meditation in Buddhism?
The head monk spoke about morality and the importance of concentration in one's life, and how meditation and the Buddhist way of life can impact our everyday reality.
How can the teachings of this monastery help people living in modern society today?
What the head monk was basically saying to us here that, whether you come from the smallest village or the biggest city, in helping others and in being a compassionate person, that's the correct way to uphold Buddha's teachings and the most effective way of doing so.
Thanks for the evening with the monk yesterday. I really enjoyed it. But obviously I have this doubt. You're talking about meditation, which is a very still form, right? So how does that fit into your journey?
So meditation, one of the key elements of it is breathing. And that's what the monk was speaking about yesterday. And he talked about the various ways in which you can breathe. And it was very physical the way he described it. But generally when you see someone meditating, you don't see the breath. But the breath intrinsically has rhythm. And the rhythm has movement. Rhythm and movement, it's not just about dance for me. It can be in anything and everywhere. And I think meditation is a really key way to have movement in your life.
I'd finally gotten through to Naved. He now understood why it was so important for me to keep in touch with the idea of movement. For a city slicker like me, going on the AH1 was this incredible journey where I was able to cross state lines, international borders, into places that I never dreamt I would go to. And one of those places was in Nagaland, called Konoma, near the Kohima city. We assume that they lead these very rural, backward lives from the outside, but really it's entrenched in so much culture and so much richness, and I was so fortunate to learn about their traditional style of dance.
Asamo, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I loved seeing your dance, and it's so joyful and beautiful. And can people, boys, girls, men, women, everybody can participate?
Yes, everyone is allowed to participate.
Okay, and how old are you when you start learning?
Actually, we started learning at the young stage. If you enter the peer group, we call it Tessa.
Tessa?
Yes, Tessa means age group.
Okay.
So after reaching some certain stage, we joined Tessa, and as soon as we joined the Tessa, we started practicing songs and this sort of dance.
And everybody can dance and everybody can sing. You always learn both?
Oh yes, everyone we learn. We learn from our elders. Our elders, they taught us how to sing, dance, like in place, like meeting place in Morung, and so we learned while we were very young.
And what I love is that this dance seems so steeped in tradition. You're saying you learned from your elders, so your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. This has come for many, many years. Do you believe that it will continue for many years?
Actually, it's dying off. So we are many people. We prefer going to like the town, cities for studies. So many are dying off, but still people practice, and we are happy continuing singing songs and dancing.
And what I love is that you all look so happy living here in nature. I think today is possibly the best day, one of the best days I've ever had in my life. So thank you very much, because to be on this mountain with all of you, with the sun right there, dancing, I couldn't think of anything more beautiful and joyful in my life. So thank you for giving me the joy. Thank you for teaching me your dance. Thank you for welcoming us all here, sharing your beautiful red rice with us.
This Nexa journey has just been a bank of experiences for me. And while I found a friend in Naved, I really feel that we had the opportunity to learn from one another. I feel richer for having the experience to travel with him.
I got over fast.
What, the popcorn?
Yeah.
It's meant to be eaten, man.
I know, man. So tell me.
Tell me what?
For me, the high that I get, okay, being on stage, okay, just being able to perform is like something which I don't get anywhere, right? Is it the same for you? Like you've been on stage?
Stage is just the best. I mean, when you get on stage, you're there. It's that moment. The lights are on you. The energy and the adrenaline is real.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that beats that in terms of the kind of excitement, the high, and just that feeling of actually being in the moment. And that's what I crave in life. And I think even though I've pursued my creative ideas and aspirations, but when you're on stage, all of that just goes away. And you just feel this oneness with the audience, and I love it. And so I totally understand why you would as well. But you know, I love cinema and the way that you can construct shots, the way that you can move people through the moving image is obviously what inspired me. So I feel really lucky that I can kind of do both.
Because this journey, right, I needed a little clarity in terms of, you know, what gives me that high, okay, and then equate it with happiness. So yeah, totally. I think I'm just gonna go and straight dive in and like do my theater and like be that person, you know, that I've been craving.
You know what the good news is?
There is a good news.
The good news is that if it doesn't work out, you have an amazing backup plan as a cross-Asia driver. I'm sure it'll work out for you. Good luck.
Thailand ended up being the perfect end to this journey for me. We were a little far away from Bangkok in a place called Khao Yai National Park, where I had an experience which, more than anything, was a real culmination of the journey for me.
I came across
a troupe of shadow puppeteers, and I was just amazed at this form of movement and the fact that this style of storytelling had just been disseminated across Thailand for so many years now.
So I've written a short folk story about a kingdom and a king and travelers, because I'm on a quest right now through my journey with my fellow travelers. So I thought it was very apt to write about it through folklore. And I think that maybe it would be very interesting to enact this with your puppets and a little bit of my dance. So with your permission, it would be amazing to read this story to you and perhaps see what we could make together with it.
การแสดงมันก็เหมือนกันถ้าหากว่าเป็นการใช้เงาใช่ไหม
Very nice to hear that from you. That that he never heard that some foreigner or.
I was absolutely delighted that the artists were open to collaborating with me. I practiced my moves, I prayed to the gods, and I was just ready for a performance that would be the culmination of my journey thus far. The story that I wrote was about a king and his son, and the king sends his son through the forest to overcome certain challenges, and it just made sense because we were on a journey and this is the end of the journey now. So for me it was a real culmination of everything I'd done in the last few weeks. It is so hard to describe in words what this journey meant to me. I was so lucky to travel by road across 3 countries with wonderful people, but more than anything, exploring cultures that I would never have been able to explore in this way, really off the beaten track. So I don't know what to say except the fact that I'm very grateful to have grown as a person, but more than anything because I was able to grow closer to my beloved art form. Freestyle movement for me is exactly that. It's freeing and it allows me to be who I am and to take energy from the world around me and express myself. I'm so grateful for having gone on this journey, for all that I've learnt, for the experiences that I've had, and for the fact that more than anything, at the end of this journey, I really felt truly free.